Hi everyone, this is a support video for Unit 4 Anchor Activity number 3, Dear Research. Research is exceptionally important to our unit, and it's safe to say that we need practice. Using events from our class texts and nonfiction sources, we will be exploring ways we see connections between these two spaces. While Quan is a fictional character with a fictional story, many of his experiences parallel to those in the real world. Let's take some time to see how we can create a bridge between these two worlds. The tweetable summary. Using a specific event or concept from our specific week of reading, partners will be using research to make nonfiction connections to our text by writing letters to the author subject of the article and the chosen character. Part 1. Choose partners and text events. This should have been something that hopefully you've done already. If not, as a group, I would make a list of events that are featured in your week readings for this week. From this list, determine who will be studying what among your team members. The goal is to partner up with your group and assign events to explore. So, for example, we see in week 2 where Quan is kind of subjected to a lot of peer pressure because he is starting to hang out more with Trey and Martel and the other Black jihadists. So peer pressure could be something that we could go and research or investigate. But we don't want 5 groups to research peer pressure. So we want to think about other events that could be researched within our week's reading. Part 2. Collect research. Each partner group will be responsible for collecting one credible nonfiction source related to their chosen event in part 1. So make a copy of the crap test organizer you'll see linked to the left and share with your partner. You'll be using this document for the next few parts. Check to make sure that your credible source is actually credible and reliable by filling out this test. On that same organizer, after you and your partner have collected credible nonfiction source for this anchor, you want to move forward on that organizer for mining the text section. This is the time where we're going to be reading and annotating for key connections to our text, all on that same document. Part 4, Application. The last part of the organizer, entitled Application Toward Anchor, allows time to brainstorm a potential letter writing experience between one of our anchors one of our characters in the text and the subject or author of our nonfiction text. Take some time to participate in this brainstorm in efforts to apply your research and book knowledge together as one. So, for example, if you and your partner read and annotated a piece of credible research around peer pressure, maybe you want to think about writing a letter to Quan because he is the one being kind of lured in or taken into these spaces because of peer pressure, that these people are making him feel like he has to do these things. So this letter between research on peer pressure and Quan could talk back and forth to each other. The actual letter itself, part 5. Before you start this part, take a moment to watch the Dear trailer located on the left in order to get an idea of what you'll be doing. Letter number 1 is the character letter. After watching the trailer, create a shared Google Doc and write a letter to your chosen book character from the subject or author of your research article. Think about what you've learned, how these two people would write to each other, and include what you know about both sources. In this letter, particularly you're writing to the character, it's going to be a lot of the research that you annotated. Let that expert speak to Quan about the things that that expert knows about peer pressure, for example, kind of going along with the same example I've been using. Letter number 2 is the subject author letter. How would your chosen character write to the subject author of your nonfiction article? So, for example, what would be the response to Quan to this peer pressure research? What would she say? What questions may come up? What connections or contradictions or way that we disagree may have with one another? How does evidence from both texts support your thoughts? Construct a letter to your subject or author of your research article from the character in your book. Post these letters on your student blog page using the title Unit 4 Dear Research Letters. I would also encourage you to use the class website, because on the class website, under week 1 interactions or anchor interactions, we've already had several groups construct these letters, and they've done very well. So don't be afraid to go and look at other examples too. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out anytime.